This isn't rap beef, this is an identity autopsy. Because tonight, Tekashi 6ix9ine isn't dissing a record, he's dissecting a persona. And what he claims he uncovered about 21 Savage could shatter everything fans thought they knew about the streets. For years, the image stood firm. Dark beats, cold delivery, street-coded lyrics, the quiet menace. The man who spoke like survival wasn't optional. But according to Tekashi 6ix9ine, that entire image wasn't lived. It was performed. And the moment the streets pushed back, the mask slipped. This story doesn't begin with accents or passports. It begins with credibility and the claim that most so-called gangsters in hip-hop aren't as untouchable as they pretend to be.
I have been interviewing street guys longer than some people have been alive. And I will say this, if you've been doing crimes for at least 3 years, you probably cooperated in some type of fashion. You met with the police, you told them something off the record, you did something to make sure that you don't go back to prison. You have some sort of relationship with law enforcement that's allowing you to not go to jail for whatever they're catching you for, because it's too easy to catch people. That's what I've been saying the whole time. And slowly but surely, all these so-called guys that are super gangsters,
Vlad,
you know,
listen,
like
Vlad,
the young thugs,
Vlad,
it's coming out.
Vlad.
This is where the foundation cracks. The accusation isn't aimed at one artist, it's aimed at the culture. The suggestion that behind the bravado, behind the tattoos, behind the slogans, there's a silent agreement with survival. And once that door opens, every street-certified image suddenly becomes fair game. But this isn't abstract theory. Tekashi zeroes in on one specific moment, a phrase that ignited backlash so fast it forced a public retreat.
It's only the streets now, right? Like the question was, why you think it's the streets? It's a manipulation to confuse the fans. So the fans, it backfired. That's why he said, no, I didn't mean to say the streets, and put the clip up right here.
That word, streets. In hip-hop, it's not a metaphor. It's permission. It's legitimacy. And according to this narrative, invoking it wasn't accidental. It was calculated. Until it wasn't welcomed. What followed wasn't confidence. It wasn't doubling down. It was retreat.
I ain't supposed to say it like that.
You shouldn't.
I supposed to say say the streets.
Yes.
You gotta say the streets.
I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. I meant save the streets.
In gossip terms, this is where the panic enters. The repetition, the clarification, the sudden need to explain intent. Because in Tekashi's framing, the issue wasn't what was said, it was who rejected it.
No, nigga, you meant that so niggas wasn't jacking you, nigga. You know what you meant, nigga? And when that backfired, cause a nigga came and made a video said, yo, bro, you can't say the streets. I just did 10 years for this shit. So when you seen the hood and the streets attacking you, you said, I didn't mean it like that. I meant say the streets. Nigga, you know what you meant, nigga? That's what you meant, nigga. Stand on that.
This is the turning point. The moment Tekashi claims the streets didn't just criticize, they checked. And according to this narrative, once the backlash came from people who actually lived it, the confidence evaporated. But Tekashi doesn't stop at words. He goes after identity itself.
Well, you did a whole skit about 21 Savage where you had an English accent and the whole nine.
At first, it sounds like mockery, a joke, a skit. But then it becomes something sharper, a setup for what Tekashi frames as the real reveal.
Born Shea bin Abraham Joseph III, born in our beautiful country of the United Kingdom.
This is where the narrative shifts from music to mythology, from bars to birthplace. Because once origins are questioned, everything downstream becomes suspect.
Do you not love yourself? Do you not love who you are, this country?
No, I hate it here. I need to change my identity. Nobody takes us serious. Nobody's gonna take me serious as a gangster. I have to go to America, please.
This is the line Tekashi frames as confession, not spoken directly, but implied through behavior. The claim that the gangster image wasn't grown into, it was constructed, built for acceptance, built for credibility, built because the original identity wasn't enough. And then comes the moment designed to sting the hardest.
Yeah, you heard his father. His father was a doctor. His father really got that accent. That's his father. But hey, yo, Vlad, have your editors put 21 Savage's father right here. His father's a doctor.
In gossip storytelling, this is nuclear, the contrast. the class divide, the implication that the image sold to fans was miles away from reality. Dr. Sun versus street soldier, stability versus struggle. And according to Tekashi, that contradiction explains everything. The hesitation, the backtracking, the need to clarify. Because in this version of events, the streets weren't fooled, they simply waited. The ridicule lands last, not as comedy but as symbolic teardown. The suggestion that even the symbols chosen were costume pieces, props in a role that demanded authenticity but never received it. And this is where part 1 closes, with the idea that the biggest danger in hip-hop isn't snitching or beef or even betrayal. It's being exposed as something you never truly were. Because once the streets stop believing, no accent, no imagery, no backstory can save the performance. When the laughter fades, when the clips stop rolling, and when the jokes hit their limit, what's left is something heavier: damage. Because Tekashi 6ix9ine isn't just clowning for shock value. In this narrative, he's accusing an entire brand of hip-hop credibility of being engineered, protected, and sold to fans who believed it was real. And once that accusation is out, it doesn't rewind. This is where the fallout begins, not just for one artist, but for the idea of the streets being used as a marketing shortcut. Tekashi's argument isn't subtle. He's saying the streets didn't misunderstand anything. They understood perfectly. And that's why the reaction was immediate. That's why the retreat was public. That's why explanations suddenly mattered more than confidence. Because according to this framing, real street figures don't need to clarify. They don't soften language. They don't panic when challenged. They stand on what they say, or they never say it at all. And that's the line Tekashi keeps drawing, over and over again. In his version of events, the problem wasn't the phrase, "save the streets." The problem was claiming ownership over something you never paid the price for. And when people who did pay that price spoke up, the response wasn't strength, it was revision. That's the moment Tekashi labels as exposure. He frames it as a survival instinct kicking in. Not bravery, not leadership, just damage control. And from there, the narrative spirals outward. Because once you question one part of the image, everything else becomes fair game. The accent, the silence, the calculated calm, the way the persona was packaged to feel authentic without ever being tested. Tekashi doesn't say the industry didn't know. He implies the opposite. He suggests the industry needed this version. A street-coded artist who was safe, controlled, marketable. Someone who could sell danger without actually being dangerous. Someone who could wear the image without carrying the consequences. In gossip terms, this is where the conspiracy angle blooms. Because if the image was manufactured, then someone funded it, someone polished it, someone protected it when questions came too close. And according to this framing, the protection held until the streets themselves rejected the performance. That's when the rules changed. Tekashi positions himself as the outsider who doesn't care about those rules. The one who already burned bridges. The one with nothing left to protect and therefore nothing to lose. Which is why, in this narrative, he can say what others won't. He mocks the idea that credibility can be borrowed, that geography can be swapped like wardrobe, that an accent can be dropped and a reputation picked up like a costume. And the Dr. Sun detail? That's not just class warfare, it's symbolism. It's the contrast between safety and struggle, between inheritance and survival, between learning discipline in a home and learning discipline in chaos. Tekashi doesn't argue that coming from stability is wrong. He argues pretending you didn't is. And that's the accusation that lingers. Because fans start asking questions, old interviews resurface, old clips get rewatched, moments that once felt mysterious suddenly feel rehearsed, silence gets reinterpreted, calm gets reframed as calculation. In gossip storytelling, this is when the audience splits. One side calls it hate, jealousy, shock tactics. The other side calls it overdue. And that split is exactly where virality lives. Tekashi's words don't need proof in this format. They need repetition. They need momentum. They need doubt. And once doubt enters the room, certainty never comes back the same. This isn't about whether the claims are fair. It's about whether they're believable. And once enough people believe something, perception becomes reality. That's the unspoken rule of celebrity culture. Tekashi leans into that rule with precision. He doesn't say the image was fake once. He says it again and again and again, each time with more ridicule, more contrast, more humiliation layered on top. The surgical needle jokes, the accent parody, the birthplace emphasis, the father reveal, all of it designed to chip away at mystique, because mystique is fragile. Once it cracks, the persona bleeds out in public. And the silence afterward? In gossip terms, silence becomes confirmation. Not legally, not factually, but emotionally. In the court of public opinion, quiet reads as surrender. Tekashi understands that. He understands that saying less sometimes does more damage than saying anything at all. So he keeps talking, and every time he talks, the narrative grows. Now it's not just about one phrase. It's about whether the streets were ever represented at all, whether fans were sold a story that sounded real enough to survive until it wasn't. And here's the final twist in this gossip arc. Tekashi doesn't present himself as better. He presents himself as honest. He doesn't say he's street, he says others aren't. That distinction matters, because hypocrisy hits harder than failure. And in this narrative, the ultimate accusation isn't that someone wasn't street, it's that they claimed to be, that they used the symbolism, the language, the reputation. And when it came time to stand on it, they stepped back. That's the story Tekashi wants remembered. Not the skits, not the jokes. The moment the streets spoke and someone flinched. Because once that image cracks, it never fully rebuilds. Fans don't forget exposure. They archive it, they clip it, they replay it. And in hip-hop culture, perception doesn't need proof to survive, it only needs momentum. And right now, according to this narrative, the momentum isn't about music, it's about identity. And whether the streets ever belonged to someone who only learned how to sound like they did.